Hi, I would like to welcome you to a P-Educator's second video, a disability activist's journey through the adult entertainment industry, William Takahashi's story. The video explores how he got involved in the industry, his professional relationships, and why he and other people believe the disabled should have an active role in the adult entertainment industry. William has a speech impairment and he believes that it will be easier for the audience to follow the video if we use voice-overs and animation for his scenes in this film. Hi, my name is Crystal and I am here with William Takahashi. William, please tell us who you are and about what it was like growing up as a disabled person.
Hi, my name is William Takahashi. I am 56 years old, and I am a disability awareness educator and sex worker in the adult industry. I was born in Chicago and lived with my mother and dad in an apartment on the north side. I am disabled. I have cerebral palsy and I am not able to walk, and I have a minor speech impairment. Cerebral palsy is a birth defect that occurs at birth and usually affects the muscle and motor coordination skills of the body. While I was growing up, I went to schools that had special classrooms for the disabled, but their curriculum was the same as the curriculum in the regular classrooms. I did pretty well in school and really liked it a lot. I continued in school until the 8th grade, and then we had problems finding school programs that were appropriate for my situation. At the same time, my mother divorced my dad and left home. I lived with my dad from age 14 until I was 21. During this time, since my dad needed to work during the day, I stayed home on my own and I ran around with a group of street kids that liked to get into trouble a lot. We liked to drink alcohol and we liked to shoplift. Given that I was in a wheelchair, unfortunately a lot of store owners were too naive to realize what we were actually doing in their stores. As I grew a little bit older, I got involved with the Illinois Department of Rehab Services and they helped me finish high school and get my GED. I decided to go to college at the University of Illinois and moved down to Champaign/Urbana when I was 22. At the University of Illinois, I lived in the dorm behind me, Sherman Hall. I lived in this dorm for 3 years and I really enjoyed that experience. I received a dual degree in social work and computer science. I spent many hours studying outside here on the quad and in the Allegheny Union behind me. I had already learned how to take care of myself, but being at the University of Illinois really reinforced my sense of independence and helped me learn to solve my own problems and make things work with whatever resources I had.
So, William, how did you get interested in the adult industry?
In Urbana, I had my first experience with a sex worker. I met a girl who was also in school and she was an escort on the side. We became friends and I also would see her occasionally on a professional level. I also started to get really interested in the internet. At this point in the late 1970s, the internet was a new concept and there was a lot of room to develop pages/websites and experiment with different technologies. I got interested in developing adult websites, and my first website was content-oriented. I had video and lots of adult images on it. As time went on, I found that there was a fetish for adult images and videos of the disabled, but there was almost no content out there. I decided to develop a website which included images of myself in adult situations. I also shared links that featured the disabled. I pursued this venture for about 3 years, and then I realized that there was a real need to educate both the general public and also other adult industry people about the disabled. I started to turn my attention to being more of an advocate and educator and less of an actual performer. The shift of my focus occurred in the late 1990s. In 2001, I decided to move back to Chicago, and on a small scale, I pursued my interest in educating people about the disabled. In 2007, I started to get involved with a more organized group of people called the Desiree Alliance. The Desiree Alliance is basically a group of sex workers who advocate for sex workers' human, civil, and labor rights. In 2008, I wrote an article on sex work and disability for Spread magazine. I also wrote a resource guide called Entertainer's Guide to Disabled Customers. I presented the content of this guide in a workshop at the 2008 Desiree Alliance Conference in Chicago. In addition, I produce videos. My first video was shown at the 2009 Sex Worker Film Festival in San Francisco. My work was also featured on Playboy Radio's Night Calls show hosted by Christy Kenyon in late June 2009. I've also tried to get involved in legislative issues that affect sex work and disability. In February 2010, Illinois House Bill 6195 was introduced. HB 6195 increases the penalties for solicitation of a sexual act, soliciting for a prostitute, patronizing a prostitute, and pimping from a misdemeanor to a felony, even for first-time offenders. Laws that make it a crime for able-bodied or disabled people to see a sex worker are wrong. I believe sex workers offer a needed service for the disabled. People with disabilities see sex workers for emotional warmth, pleasure, and sexual gratification. Disabled clients may be needing reassurance of their sexual worth and help in finding ways to give pleasure to other people, and this is where adult industry professionals can help. The disabled have the same desires and needs as everyone else. In addition, passing these types of laws create more felons in Illinois, which will unavoidably create the following problems. 1. The conviction of a felony on a person's record will cause people to lose their jobs, housing, professional certifications, and their financial aid for college. This will inevitably cause an increase in crime, because people with felony convictions have limited options and resources, especially in a time when our country is experiencing a recession and there is a high unemployment rate. 2. If a disabled person is convicted of a felony and they live in public housing or subsidized housing, they will lose their eligibility for these benefits. Some reasons why the disabled may see a sex worker are: 1. Love-making. If only so they can say to themselves they aren't virgins anymore, and feel they have done it at least once in their lives, so they don't die virgin. Confirmation of their masculinity or femininity. 2. Confidence building and gaining sexual experience. Most disabled people lack adolescent experimentation, so they never get the chance to learn what they like, learn how to seduce, Learn how to take rejection and acceptance